Hi everyone, Ryan here from Fight Game Analysis, and today we are going to be talking about the fight that just wrapped up between Canelo Alvarez and Dmitry Bivol. But before we jump into that, if you've been enjoying the content, please go ahead and click on the like button and also subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate your support. Man, there were some people out there who thought that Dmitry Bivol had the talent to be able to pull this one off. But there was a smaller group of people that actually thought he was going to be able to do it. I mean, on the one hand, we've always seen Canelo be able to figure out a way to come out with the victory. Other than his fight with Floyd Mayweather, we've seen him go in there and lose rounds, but we've always seen him figure out a way to get it done. Even going up against bigger guys, longer guys, guys with, perceived to have more power, speed, whatever the case may be, he was able to figure out a way to get it done. And we also always thought that, we kind of figure how boxing goes at times. Unfortunately, we've all witnessed some real bogus decisions. And one of the things that they were even talking about in the broadcast for this fight was, can Dmitry Bivol go into Las Vegas and win a decision against Canelo Alvarez? And look, I'll be the first to admit, that sounds like a very daunting task. That sounds like something that you don't want to have to do. It sounds like something you want to be able to take it out of the judge's hands in the night early if you have that possibility. That wasn't the case. So we go to the scorecards, and it looks for the most part like Bivol won this fight. You look at Chris Mannix's scorecard, you look at Sean Porter's scorecard. Both of them got the same thing, 117, 111. Dmitry Bivol comes out there, man, puts on a performance. And then we hear the scorecards announced. All three judges scored 115, 113. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, boo, that is it, man. The fix is in. We're going to get Canelo walking away with a razor-thin decision. Here we go. Boxing at its finest. But they didn't disappoint me, man. They came out there and they gave the decision to the man who rightly won that fight. They didn't give it to him by the margin that I thought he won it, but they gave him the decision nevertheless. Dmitry Bivol, man, congratulations to that man. Came out there and put on a performance. Look, in the fighter meetings prior to this, which was either, yesterday or possibly 2 days before the fight, some of the, we had the announcing team on DAZN talking about how Canelo said that he had to come out fast. Had to start fast. He's known for kind of starting slow at times, has kind of known that for a while. Said that he couldn't give away rounds. Bivol was too talented. He needed to come out fast. And we kind of saw the start. We saw that. We saw right out the gate that the Canelo was coming out there. He was able to close that distance early. We saw him start to land that uppercut right at the end of the first. In the second and the fourth, we saw him start to try to find that as a punch that he was using. But we saw Bivol. We saw what he was doing. He was staying behind that jab. He was staying disciplined, staying on that strategy. He was getting off combinations when he had the ability to. Wasn't allowing himself for any significant period of time to be backed against the ropes. When his back did hit the ropes, maybe he'd catch a flurry or two and he was on his way out the door, right back to the middle of the ring. I said coming into this fight that if the majority of the fight was fought at the geography that Bivol wanted, which was the middle of the ring, that it was going to be trouble for Canelo. And it was. It was. He was in there. He was doing what he does, right? Canelo had that high guard. He was trying to walk Bivol down without using punching, just applying pressure. And then when he found himself in the right position, he was unloading with power. How often did we see him use the jab tonight? Right? Barely ever. Canelo barely ever went to the jab. And I'm not suggesting that he should have. But what he was doing wasn't working enough. He was able to get off some shots here and there. He was trying to go around the guard. Man, Bivol's his left arm was all bruised by the end of the fight because Canelo was beating it up just like he did against Callum Smith. Right? Hoping that was going to help Bivol motivate Bivol to keep that jab at home a little bit, but he didn't. He was working that jab all night, and he was getting those flurries off, straight right hands to the bodies on occasion. He was backing Canelo up from time to time. Look, you saw moments in this fight. Canelo would come forward, he would land a punch or two, he would try to back out. And in 99% of the fights that he had been in, when he backed out, his opponent would allow him to. But you would see moments in this fight when Bivol wouldn't allow him to. He would follow him. And he had the length. So once he followed him and he let go with 2-3 punches, he was able to catch Canelo. And it was just, he was able to get off these combinations, and you could see that Canelo looked like he expected the punches to stop, and there was a few more at the end, and he would get caught. He looked winded by the end of the fight. I'm sure it was just mentally grueling. He felt the fight slipping away from him. He saw the kind of work rate that Bivol was applying. Like, man, what a performance. He went out there and did everything that he said he was going to do. He was able to go out there and control the majority of the fight. Think about that, 9 rounds to 3. 2 different guys, not even sitting next to each other, right? Had the fight 9 rounds to 3. Great performance. Great performance. So it was funny in the post-fight interview, Bivol says, looks over in Canelo's direction and mentions, I didn't mean to ruin your plans with Triple G, but it is what it is. So Canelo then said that he wanted to enact the rematch clause, can't leave it like this. I'm intrigued for the rematch. I am absolutely intrigued. On the one hand, you look at what Bivol did and you think there's absolutely every reason to believe that he could do that again. You think about that over the course of another 12 rounds, why would you ever believe that Bivol couldn't do that again? He could. He can. Will he? That's another question. Even if you only gave Canelo 3 rounds, maybe you gave him 4 rounds, something like that, he still saw some success in the fight. Yeah, the majority of that success was early, but he still saw some success in the fight. He also is a fighter with a very high ring IQ. So now him and his team saw Bivol for 12 rounds. He felt what that was like. He's going to have 12 rounds of footage to break down. He's the guy who's in the position that has the ability to make the adjustments. He's also the guy, in my opinion, as we watched that fight unfold, he was the guy who had the power. Now, I'm not saying that he hurt Bivol at all. I don't think that he did. But he seemed that he was able to take what Bivol dished out as well. There were some times when Bivol landed some clean right hands. There were some times when he caught him with some nice left hooks inside of combinations. Canelo took it all very well. So possibly that'll change his fight plan going forward. So it'll be really interesting to see when that fight comes about. Are we going to see that as early as September? Is that one going to get pushed off a little bit? Canelo's going to want to do something else, possibly change something up in his camp. I know this one, he said that he went vegetarian because he thought it was going to help with the cardio. I don't know about that. I mean, obviously he made it to the end of the fight, but like I said, he did seem gassed. It'll be interesting to see if what he changes up from a nutrition standpoint. Does he stick with that? Does he go back to what's always worked in the past? I mean, look, nobody was out there thinking that in his most recent fights he looked winded. And an age-old adage that I was taught as a child, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So if he wasn't looking winded in past fights, why did he all of a sudden do something now to work on his cardio? Did he think that he was going to have to go out there and keep some kind of a work rate and that was going to give him a little bit extra in the gas tank? So even though he didn't have problems in the past, he was going to need something. He was going to have to tap on some reserves that weren't there. I'm not sure. I don't really know. What I do know is that he's got some work that needs to be done. He's going to have to figure out what to do with that work rate from Bivol. He's going to have to figure out how to get around that jab. Bivol was doubling and tripling that jab up. It looked good. He was seeing a lot of success with it. Canelo was going to have to find an answer for that. He's not going to be able to do what he did tonight. He's not going to be able to do what he's done against past opponents. Bivol, I'll tell you what, right out of the gate, one of the things that I could say about him is the man wasn't intimidated. He did not go in there and fight like he was there for a paycheck. He didn't go out there and fight scared. He didn't go out there and fight as though he was just waiting for some big bomb to land on his chin and he was going to lay it down for the night. He went out there like he was fighting to win. He showed up for the victory. He walked away with the victory, man. Congratulations. Once again, I know I said it a few times in the video, but it's not every day that somebody ends up beating Canelo. We only saw it one other time, and that was Floyd Mayweather. And he's universally recognized as a man who's pretty much head and shoulders above everybody else in his generation. So let me know what you guys think. Were you as impressed with the performance that Bivol put on as I was? The fact that he was able to stay disciplined throughout the 12 rounds. He was able to continually go to that jab and land those combinations. What do you think about the rematch? Is it Bivol's fight to lose? Is Canelo going to be able to make some kind of an adjustment and come out with the victory? Let me know what you guys think.